Hello everyone, welcome back to First Friday Fives here on Go Big Boar or Go Home, where recoil is required. Why? Because we're the house of the rising gun. As many of you are no doubt excited about, it is deer season most places here in the United States. And while some folks go to the traditional route of using a rifle, the really traditional route of using black powder, or the really traditional route of using a bow, some folks out there are all about taking that buck with some big bore handheld might. Now, before you go doing this, always check the hunting laws in your state, as this may not be a legal option for you in your area. But for those that are good to go, choosing a tool for the job might be a bit of a head scratcher. That's why this list is not the traditional best to worst list, but rather 5 options to consider for specific challenges that you may face. Things like environmental obstacles, personal challenges, animal size, etc. So if you're getting ready to hunt with a handgun, here are 5 big bore cartridges to consider. The best for the recoil sensitive, the 41 Remington Magnum. Let's be honest, not everyone stands over 6 feet and weighs in at over 200 pounds like yours truly. If so, recoil and firearm size might be a serious obstacle for you. Carrying a Smith & Wesson 500 all day would be exhausting even for larger folks, and the recoil might just be too much. Well, fear not. The 41 Magnum is here to offer you an excellent option for your hunt. Designed in 1963, the 41 Magnum was intended to be a midway point between the 357 Magnum and its bigger brother, the 44 Magnum. It typically shoots 170 grain bullets to 210 grain bullets at velocities up to 1,800 feet per second and 1,585 feet per second respectively. But you can get bullets weighing in at up to 265 grains going 1,350 feet per second at the muzzle for some heavy for caliber punch. Let's face it, this cartridge is no slouch in terms of power. Better yet, the revolvers that chamber this round are average sized. Most are large frame revolvers, but no bigger than a 44 Magnum, so they are very reasonable for most folks. And in terms of recoil? The first time I fired one, I proclaimed, "This round is a pussycat." Seriously, considering you get about 90% of the performance of the Big 44, you'll be pleasantly surprised that it only brings 70% of the recoil. It may not be a .38 special, but it's much easier than any other handgun hunting cartridge I've personally fired. The round is also known for having a little flatter trajectory than its big brother, making it known for good accuracy. I like to think of this round as the .243 Winchester of the handgun world. It might not be as powerful as a .308, but it packs plenty of oomph for the hunt while being easier on the hunter. The downside is that while there are a few revolvers chambered in it at the moment, you might want to consider the used market as it is very much a niche round. And ammo is hard to find, making it very much a reloader's cartridge. All in all, the 41 Magnum should not be overlooked, even if you're not recoil sensitive. It's an accurate, flat-shooting, sufficiently powerful round for deer hunting that any good hunter could take game with. The best for extra power, the .480 Ruger. On the flip side, there might be a reason you want or need some extra punch. Perhaps you're hunting mule deer or the whitetail where you live are on the larger side. Perhaps you have had a little trouble taking deer with one shot or have a lot of brush where your hunting ground is, making heavier bullets kind of a necessity. But since we're talking about taking deer and not moose, moving up to a .475 linebaugh or a .50 caliber seems like it would be too much. I have the perfect round for you in that case, the .480 Ruger. While it has the larger .476-inch bullet of the .475 linebaugh, it has a shorter length at 1.285 inches compared to the linebaugh's 1.4 inches, and lower max pressure of 48,000 pounds per square inch versus the 50,000 pounds per square inch of the bigger .475. The result is some serious power without recoil that punishes you. Designed in the early 2000s by the company whose name it bears, the .480 Ruger was intended to be a big step up in power from the .44 Magnum without the obnoxiously unpleasant recoil of the .454 Casull. And it is exactly that, generating muzzle energy in excess of 1,300 foot-pounds even in the lighter offerings. Bullet weights range anywhere from 220 grains at up to 1,900 feet per second, generating 1,763 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, to 430 grains at up to 1,500 feet per second, generating 1,551 foot-pounds, giving a hunter a wide range of powerful ammunition. That's some serious wallop to take your deer with. Even better is the firearms that chamber this round, like the Ruger Super Redhawk, Ruger Super Blackhawk, Freedom Arms Model 83, and Magnum Research BFR, and the obligatory custom revolvers, are all no bigger than the average large frame revolver, making them very packable. So you won't wear yourself out by bringing extra power into the field. If you need more than the average hunting handgun for your deer hunt, but are worried about bringing too much gun in terms of size, recoil, or power, this is absolutely the round for you. Simply put, it's everything you'll need and nothing more. The best semi-auto round, the .460 Roland. While it's normal to carry a revolver into the woods when hunting a deer, some folks just don't care for them. And I get it, some folks actually don't like chocolate for reasons we'll never understand. Granted, they're probably serial killers waiting to strike. But that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is that if you're going to hunt a deer with a handgun and use a semi-auto, you need to consider your options carefully as they are less common and often more temperamental than a revolver. While I would argue there are some conventional semi-auto handgun rounds that could be used like the 10mm or even the 357 SIG in some cases, they typically are pushing the abilities of the round when hunting deer, as you will have to get in very close to the animal. And some less well-known rounds like the 40 Super are tough to get your gun chambered in. So what now? Well, it might make more sense to folks who are familiar with Magnum-powered semi-autos like the Desert Eagle, the Wildy Survivor, the Automag pistol, the LAR Grizzly, and the AMT Automags. All of them have their drawbacks. I mean, only 3 of them are currently in production, with the Desert Eagle being the least expensive at somewhere around a minimum of $1,700 US at the time of making this video. Not to mention that reliability isn't always solid, making a follow-up shot potentially not doable. And a lot of them are chambered in rounds that are rare and hard to find, like the 50 Action Express, the 429 Desert Eagle, the 44 Automag pistol, 45 Win Mag, and 475 Wildy Mag. That makes them all hard to acquire and hard to practice with. Not to mention heavy, cumbersome, and often recoil-laden by cartridges that are overpowered for a deer. But the solution, in my humble opinion, is the 460 Roland. Most well-made 1911s can easily be converted to this round, along with 45 ACP Glocks, Springfield XDs, and even the FNX 45. And if you already own the gun being converted, this is a very cost-effective way to get a deer hunting handgun. The power is in the 44 Magnum range with bullets from 185 grains at 1,575 feet per second to 250 grains at 1,300 feet per second. This little beast nips at the heels of the 45 Win Mag, with the only main increase in size being the compensator that is added on. Not bad. Not to mention that if you reload, all you need is the proper brass, reloading data, and a set of 45 ACP dies, which are in greater supply than P. Diddy's baby oil. You can load up for just a tad more in price than your 45 ACP rounds and get tons of practice in. If you're looking for a semi-auto hunting handgun, the 460 Roland really is a tough cartridge to beat in terms of size, power, and cost. If you're handgun hunting for deer, I think this round is definitely worth looking into. The best for long-range needs, the 460 Smith & Wesson Magnum. While getting in close to take a deer is much more important when you're using a handgun, there are times when doing so might be a serious challenge. Some deer can be very skittish and bolt once they realize you're there. And in some places, the deer might not be easy to get close to. And since you're using a handgun, you might need something that can reach out to those distances without any trouble. I once asked a friend why he purchased a .338 Lopua Magnum for hunting. Because, he said, when you hit an elk at 300 yards, you put it down with authority. Enter the 460 Smith & Wesson Magnum. For deer, it really is a case of extra power overload, but if you need to reach out farther for your buck, this is the round I would recommend. Released in 2005 to be the world's highest velocity handgun round, the 460 has never disappointed. You can launch bullets anywhere from 200 to 420 grains with velocities of 2,200 feet per second to 1,650 feet per second respectively. And personally, with my 7.5-inch barreled Performance Center Smith & Wesson X-Frame, I made a hand load that averaged 2,349 feet per second, with the lowest round coming in at 2,288 feet per second, and the highest round dropping my jaw at 2,416 feet per second. Those are rifle velocities, and they will help flatten your trajectory and retain energy out to extended distances. The main downside of the 460 Smith & Wesson Magnum is that its immense power and very long brass case of 1.8 inches require a massive gun to chamber it in and to help control the intense recoil. This means you're looking at the Smith & Wesson X-Frames, the long cylinder BFRs, and the Taurus Raging Hunter. So you'll need a good strong holster rig to lug that extra weight around. And when you're ready to send a round downfield, you need to hold tight, as the immense power and 65,000 pound per square inch chamber pressure will really give your hand strength a run for the money. And the report is hands down the loudest handgun blast I've ever heard in my entire life, so some ear protection really is a must. Despite the downsides, there really is no question on what cartridge is the king of long distance for hunting deer with a handgun. Sure, it's heavy, bulky, recoil intense, and louder than Fran Drescher throwing a fit, but its versatility, power, and range make it an excellent choice when you just can't get in close to a deer in the field. The best all-rounder, the .44 Remington Magnum. In a choice that was more obvious than choosing heaven as an afterlife destination, I am confident everyone saw this coming. But I mean, why not? The .44 Magnum is a staple of handgun hunting for a reason. The creation of Elmer Keith that hit the market all the way back in 1956, the .44 Magnum has always been synonymous with handgun hunting. The cartridge generates a ton of power in a handgun. Sammy Specs put 180 grain bullets going 1,800 feet per second, generating 1,295 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, all the way up to 300 grain bullets at 1,200 feet per second, generating 959 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. And ammunition manufacturers have offerings that will go heavy for caliber, like the famous Plus P Plus loadings for Buffalo Bore and Underwood that are 340 grain hardcast bullets, traveling at 1,325 feet per second, to Aria Ballistic Engineering's Plus P Plus 420 grain hardcast bullet traveling at 1,250 feet per second. Although the last few will not chamber in a Smith & Wesson revolver due to the length, and since they are Plus P Plus, I would approach them with caution. The point is, there is a staggering number of ammunition options that will provide hunters with an immense versatility. And despite its power, the recoil is rather reasonable when compared to the other big bore options. Don't be fooled, it still gives shooters a handful to contend with and is considered a threshold cartridge in terms of most shooters' limits. But it's certainly easier on the shooter than the aforementioned .480 Ruger and .460 Smith & Wesson Magnum. And it has become pretty ubiquitous. That means that there is a smorgasbord of ammunition on the market and enough options for handguns that it will make any gun guy smile. Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Taurus, Magnum Research, Freedom Arms, Cimarron, the list is endless. Even the Desert Eagle is chambered in it. And if you are okay with used options and are a fan of the 1911 platform, the LAR Grizzly Mark IV was also chambered in it. If you are a hunter that really wants to dial in what you want for your deer hunting trip, you can easily find exactly what you want with the .44 Magnum. This round has never had any trouble taking deer, not to mention almost every other critter on the planet. It's a powerhouse in a reasonably sized package and has earned its keep since the day it hit the market. If you're not sure what you want to take in the field for handgun hunting a deer, I highly recommend starting here with the .44 Magnum. You're almost guaranteed to find something that is a perfect fit. Many have, and in the future, many will. So let's recap that list before we go. The best for the recoil sensitive, the .41 Remington Magnum, a powerful round that is easy on the hunter. The best for extra power, the .480 Ruger, more power without adding size, weight, or beating you up. The best semi-auto round, the .460 Roland, plenty of power for deer without high prices or huge sizes. The best for long-range needs, the .460 Smith & Wesson Magnum. Excellent range-extending power. And the best all-rounder, the .44 Remington Magnum. Simply put, the best overall big-bore handgun cartridge for deer season. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this list. Do you agree with our choices? What cartridge would you take, or are you taking, into the field for deer season? Leave your thoughts in the comments section, as we'd love to hear what your choice would be. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, as it really helps us out on the channel, and if you didn't enjoy it, we thank you very much for making it all the way to the end. And as always, go big bore or go home. All the way up to 300 grain bullets at... I need that data. Shit. I did not do my homework and now I am paying for it.